Um, Hi, man, Zach. I'm probably your biggest fan. It was awesome to session with you today. You brought the old school out of me, and so I just had to eat the ramp a little bit, and I just had to pay for the fun. But it was awesome. That's what it's about. Only thing that doesn't break is the heart. I love that. Let's see here. Where do we start? I guess let's. Why don't you tell the people your name?
Well, I'm Zack Warden. I'm 23 years old, and I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I currently live in Woodward, Pennsylvania, and the fact that you said you're my biggest fan is pretty flattering, considering I grew up watching you ride, and I based everything around you, and it's pretty crazy that first run today you were trying no-handed fives. Just putting that out on the table, first run, like I'm over here, it took me like 3 runs to do a toboggan, and you're like, hey, first run, check this out, what's up? Yeah, that's a 540, 1.5. 1.5.
I had some issues today though. But
everyone has issues when you go that hard.
Speaking of your age, 23 years old, when were you born?
I was born on March 30th, 1989, and it was exactly 3 days after you pulled the first 9. And I just use that as a calling in my life. Like, I just feel like as soon as I found that out, I was like, BMX, it's meant to be. And then you sponsor me, and apparently you're my biggest fan. So I'm going to roll with this. I like it.
Yeah. So, when did you start riding? And what got you into BMX?
I started riding right around 1997. My parents had moved to Georgia. My dad had a really good job. I had no friends in Georgia whatsoever. I hated it absolutely. But I saw the 1997 X Games, which, if I'm not mistaken, you broke your foot, stuffed a piece of metal in your shoe, and got like a 99. And I was like, dude, football players run off the field when they have a torn hamstring, or, they're like, oh man, this is strained, and you're over here jamming a piece of metal in your shoe, doing no-hand 5s and 900s. It was mind-blowing, and since then I've just been completely addicted to it.
Yes, all right. Well, well, good. I'm glad that pain persevered to inspire you to write a whole new chapter of that heart and soul.
It pushed it to the next level for me, man.
So, I mean, you're a very well-rounded rider. You ride street, you ride everything, right? So, what fostered that? Where did you ride? What places did you ride? And what tricks are your favorite?
I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, and the owner of my skate park, Ramp Riders, was Tom Raniolo, and he grew up riding in Kansas City with Dennis McCoy and Rick Thorne a lot. So they already had a very diverse background going into it, especially with McCoy being flatland, street, park, dirt, and I just really wanted to grow off that, and then especially with having an old school influence, it was really easy for me to get caught up into the Head First, the Agromans, like that whole older scene, to where it wasn't really necessarily about the quality of the one clip, but just about the BMX aspect, like it wasn't about the 5 turn down, it was about the turn down, the nothing, and it just worked itself into it. And that's what appealed me to BMX, is just the fact that you can ride it on anything and you can push yourself on anything. You don't have to have there are no set rules. You do what you want, and it's how you want, and that right there is freedom.
Yeah, it's about the heart and the passion and the soul, yeah. So, speaking of that, what is BMX to you?
BMX to me is just fun, man. Like, I like pushing myself. Like, I'm one of the people that when I go and have a session, I like to fall. Like, I like to go out there and I like to constantly push my limits. I know a lot of people just enjoy the tail taps and the turn downs and just doing what they're comfortable with, but for me it was always pushing that boundary, being like, all right, I can turn down, but can I 3 turn down? I can 3 turn down. Can I 3 turn down a spine? And it's always just seeing what's next and how far you can actually take it, and that is just the evolution to me. That just feels natural, and that's what it is to me.
Yeah, it's like, I think that's the beauty of it. Is like every time you pick up your bike, it's going to tell you a different challenge that it has for you. It's like it's just always, you can always look at it different. It's never, the bike is a never-ending challenge.
Exactly. It's a never-ending chapter that you're writing into it. So it's a blast.
All right. you know, the state of BMX we're in now, or the state of the world that we're in with all the media. I mean, what do you think of the current state of the BMX media, and I guess just how that reflects the BMX industry in general?
I'm a supporter of anything BMX, you know, and with the industry right now, I know there's a lot of negativity, but I feel as if that comes with a growth aspect of BMX. Like, you can't have negative without positive, and you're always going to have opinions out there, and opinions are, you know, they're not set in stone, they're not the truth. So whenever you're out online on the Come Up BMX and you see a kid talking trash, you know, like, that's his opinion. Like, if he likes Chase DeHart's 180s better than he likes my Tuck No Hander Airs, like, high five to him, man. Like, it's BMX. You're free to do what you want. It was called freestyle for a reason. And, you know, I hear a lot of people nowadays of like, oh, this is what's wrong with BMX. This is what's wrong. And it's like, no, dude, there's nothing wrong with BMX. Ride your bike. Like, ride your bike and put a smile on your face, and that's what it's about. Like, it's not about anything else other than pushing yourself and doing what it takes to get that smile. You know, like, a lot of people don't have that smile in life. Like, they go to school, they do this and that, but they don't ever have anything to push themselves. And that's what I've gotten out of BMX, is the ability to constantly be evolving.
Word is bond, yo. All right, so a lot of people, when they get like, when their awesomeness is shared with the rest of the world, and they get a lot of support, normally they kind of they migrate to California. Why the Midwest?
Midwest is where it's all at. Like, I remember growing up and listening to you in interviews, like, Midwest is where BMX came from California and punk rock came from the East Coast. So it was like a perfect melting pot in the middle, you know? Like, in the Midwest, like, we're a couple years behind on the trends. So it's like, when something sticks in the Midwest, it sticks for a reason. It's not the flavor of the week. It's really something that is genuine and it's awesome and it's worthwhile. And just Midwest to me is the heartland of America, you know? Like, you get these two completely opposite sides and it meets in the middle. And anytime you can have a medium point, that's happy to me. That's where it should be.
Yeah, you have to entertain yourself. You can't follow anything.
Exactly.
You know? So you have to lead if you want to have fun.
Exactly.
Yeah, right on. And, you know, I guess in general, what gets you stoked?
What gets me stoked is watching you ride to this day, man. Like, I've been here for a week, and we've rode 3 out of the 5 days, and 3 out of those 5 days, you've done something that I completely blew my mind away, whether it be a one-footed, no-handed to can on the way in, or one-footed no-hander to one-handed no-footer. Like, you constantly have variations and tricks that, like, just get me pumped up, and it's that evolution. I see it. Like, you roll in and you do a no-hander, and you're like, well, what can I do out of the no-hander? Can I take a foot off? And then you take the foot off, and then you take the foot off, and you're like, well, what can I do out of that? And that self-progression gets me pumped up, whether it be Mat Hoffman, you riding a vert ramp, or whether it would just be some kid learning a no-footer and then learning no-foot cans. Like, it's all about just pushing yourself and putting that smile and knowing at the end of the day you're happy with what you've done.
And now I've proven how good I am at hitting the flat bottom.
It comes with it. Like, if you want to take those risks, you're going to hit the flat bottom. And that's something that, especially in the Midwest, I grew up doing a lot. Like, it's awesome, man.
But how beautiful is that you can, like, I can kind of inflict so much pain on myself and think, this was the greatest day.
This is exactly what other sport do you get where you're limping away, totally, ice in your knee, you can't even bend it.
Overshadows, like, anything.
Exactly.
Everything. Yeah.
Positive always outweighs the negative.
All right, we're to the final question, yo. Number 7. Tell me a funny BMX-related story.
Funny BMX-related story. Oh, there's so many of them. I'm going to have to go with this one time. We were going to the last Roots Jam. I was riding amateur. There's a bunch of people riding pro. It was in Orlando, Florida, and we were driving down the interstate. And as we're driving down, my buddy Sam Schulte is a complete Ross. He only eats raw fruits and vegetables. And he was in the car in front of us, and he was going through a watermelon phase. He's crazy, and he would just buy watermelons and cut them in half and eat the entire watermelon at a time. But on a road trip, he'd eat the watermelon and have to pee extremely bad. And we're on a caravan. We have 4 cars going from St. Louis to Florida. That's almost a 24-hour drive. And we're like midway somewhere in Kentucky, And I just remember I was in a Honda Prelude in the back seat. The seats were packed. I had my legs going around the person in front of me, like bikes on the rack. And I just remember seeing my buddy Sam stand up out of a sunroof and hold half a watermelon and just chuck it at our windshield. And it hit our windshield. All of our windows were down, bikes on the rack. He had ate the whole watermelon and then peed and the rest of it, hung out the sunroof and chucked it all over the windshield. It hit. I got pee in my hair, I got pee, like my buddy Andy was covered in it, it was all over the bikes, and it was one of those things like, you're laughing so hard, like what are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna pull up and try to pee on their car on the interstate? Like, no, you're just gonna take it. And at that point in my life, I was like, BMX is going to take me to the most random places in the world, and I'm so excited about it. I will get covered in pee for BMX. I will do that.
And you can be consciously sustainable when you do it.
Exactly.
And efficient, you know?
Like we were efficient. Like, we were in a Honda Prelude.
Yeah, you use the bowl to pee. I mean, like, how much more efficient can you get?
Exactly. All
right, bonus. Hookups, shout-outs.
Hookups. I want to send a big shout out to Tom Ranioli and his wife Tony Ranioli at Rampart Skate Park. Without them, none of this would have been possible. And then Hoffman Bikes, for going on 7 years now, has supported me and just helped me push myself and helped me move to Woodward. Like, especially with just the whole family of Hoffman Bikes. Jeremy, you've helped film some stuff. Kevin Robinson helped me move to Woodward. It's just been a big, long train of pretty much everyone's helped me, and it's hard to sit down and call them all out. But thank you all. I appreciate it.
Except for Keith Trainer.
Yeah, except for him, man. He's a complete asshole.
Yeah. Thank you, guys! Yay!
We out.
We love you, Keith!
All right. Boom. Are we done now? I can drink a beer and pee?